RTM is a set of codes, but it encompasses activities that you're already doing in your clinic. We didn't see a solution that was simple enough for our patient set and our clinicians to use and really buy into themselves.
If your RTM solution requires patients to download a separate additional app,
I think this one's a no-brainer. That's GTFO, because you're not going to have patients adopt that at a substantial rate, right? No one's going to. I mean, I can't tell you how many apps I've downloaded, and then the next day I forget they're even on my phone.
This episode is brought to you by me and my team, PT Pintcast Media. If you've ever thought about launching a podcast to grow your brand, your clinic, or business, we can help. It's not that complicated. Even I can figure it out. Drop me a line, Jimmy at ptpintcast.com, or visit the website, ptpintcast.com. Today's guest has one foot in business and the other in digital health innovation. That's 2 feet. He built a remote therapeutic monitoring platform, not out of theory, but necessity, because his own team was struggling with the clunky tools available, app fatigue, and poor adoption from patients and providers. So they made the solution. Now, what started as an internal fix for a home health agency turned into a full-blown platform that now boasts up to a 90% utilization rate. That's not a bad number. And here's the kicker. No apps, no more thing to download, and no cost to implement. So the risk stays, well, nice and low. Just clean, simple, SMS-based tech that meets patients where they are in their inbox. But before he streamlined RTM, he was arbitraging home health. Please welcome the co-founder and COO of RelayRTM, Griffin Shimkus. Griffin, welcome to the show, man. I'm excited.
I'm very excited to be here. It's nice to finally meet you in person.
How do you explain to people what you get to do if you meet them at a, maybe like a mixer at a, we'll say like at a health care event, right? So it's like people in healthcare. How do you explain? Because you're more on the operations side, but definitely in the field of healthcare. So what do you explain? How do you explain what you do?
Sure. Yeah. So right now, my day-to-day, my 9 to 5, it's kind of split. So I work a majority of the time as a business development director for a home health company. So that's medical home health local to my area. It's kind of a family-owned organization, and I work on specialty programs within that organization. The other 50% of my time is now dedicated to a software product that I helped develop and am co-founding called RelayRTM. So It's a remote therapeutic monitoring tool. We launched back in January, and I'm kind of just working to get it off the ground and develop from the ground up.
Cool. Some of our most listened to content in the last 12 months is about those 3 letters, RTM.
Yeah.
Right. So let's start with like maybe the origin story, just super brief, right? How did RelayRTM come to life? Really, I guess the question I'm asking is, what problem were you solving? What gap was the market ignoring or not filling that you saw from your point of view?
Yeah. So the I guess initiation of this idea was in this home health company that I work for, developing specialty programs. Noticed that our clinicians were not feeling like they heard the real story from their patients. They would see them once or twice a week, over the course of 6 to 8 weeks. And in between those visits, they were letting me know that, hey, the patients are telling me that they're doing what I'm asking them to, but it really doesn't feel like they are, because I'm not seeing the progress that we should if they were listening to what I was telling them. So I kind of dove into I guess options of what that could look like, what a solution to that problem could be. Came across RTM and the CPT codes associated, and just really dove in head first. So really that whole world of reimbursement codes and guidelines and all that kind of stuff was pretty new to me. But identified that, hey, this could be a solution to the problem that we're looking at. And did some kind of vendor shopping and realized, well, okay, a lot of what other people are offering doesn't really solve the exact problem that I'm seeing. I don't want to have to.
Why?
We didn't want to have to change EMR, softwares. We didn't want to have to use a specific home exercise program tool. We didn't want the patients to have to log into apps or learn new technology. So a lot of just really we didn't see a solution that was simple enough for our patient set and our clinicians to use and really buy into themselves. So from there, I kind of took it into my own hands to work on a solution ourselves or myself, and ultimately developed RelayRTM, which is an SMS-based RTM software app. It's a web app, but as a solution to all of the problems that we identified in our own company, saw that it was working well, solving the problems that we identified. And then we broke it out, me and the CEO of that home health company broke it out into its own company and have since started making it commercially available.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason I ask this is, number one, I want the people listening to have background.
Yeah.
And I think people like when they understand that the tool's made by someone who gets it. Like, there it is. I saw this. I didn't find anything good enough. We decided to build it ourselves. You mentioned SMS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is SMS-based RTM so effective compared to app-based or EMR integrated solutions? Why is that less sophisticated? And I'm using air quotes, right? Why is that less sophisticated method actually better?
Because the large majority of just the general population are able to work a smartphone and text off of a smartphone. So that's something that they have already adopted in years prior,
Sure.
right? So we're still working with an older population that sometimes you come across, road bumps where they might not be able to or have access to a cell phone, and that's more of a one-off type scenario these days. By and large, most people are able to work a phone and send a text. And being SMS based and not having to download an application, it works with any phone, right? It doesn't have to be an Apple device. It doesn't have to be a specific Android, and you don't have to learn any new technology. So it really just makes it more accessible to the widest range of patients possible.
Perfect. Whether you're a solo PT or running multiple clinics, Empower EMR grows with you. It's flexible, cloud-based, and actually easy to use. See it in action at empoweremr.com. I think without having to download one more app, and what's my login for that? Like I almost am at this like tipping point in my life or my phone or my computer where I'm like, dude, one more thing, one more Chrome extension.
Yeah. I've thought about completely just getting rid of the smartphone on the weekends and saying I'm not able to be reached.
Can't get me.
I'm tired
Sorry,
of all
man.
that too.
So what's your response, or how would you respond if someone was saying RTM is just a billing strategy, not a care strategy? Because that's what some hardcore people will say. Like, that's cute, but that's a billing code. In your origin story, you said the clinicians were saying, I feel like I'm not interacting with this person enough in good ways. And the cool part is there already are codes for that. We didn't have to will these into existence. They did. So if someone says RTM is a billing strategy, not a care strategy, what would you say?
Well, so it's two-parted. One, a lot of the clinicians that we are working with these days, they're already doing some of these activities to some degrees today. So they're already seeing those benefits of, hey, I'm already checking in on Nancy Sue, in between visits to make sure that she's doing it already. And all that Relay RTM is doing is putting structure behind those reach outs. So it's automating tasks that you're already doing, but also we're catching basically patients who otherwise would drop off and have those negative complications related to dropping off of their plan of care before they're actually falling off. So we're saying, hey, is your exercise plan too long? And is that why you're not actually doing this in between visits? And they're more likely to respond in real time than a week from now think back and try to readdress those issues. So we're catching complications much sooner and ultimately driving outcomes as a back end feature of that.
Yeah. Simple is the way. Simple,
Right.
the path of least resistance. Griffin, talk to us about the net positive guarantee. What's the business model behind offering no cost?
Just another avenue of approach that just made sense to us. people are much less willing to adopt new things, new softwares, if there's a large upfront expense with no guarantee of anything happening on the back end. So our way of addressing that is we don't charge any implementation fee, any software fee. We manage the training and handoff ourselves. So you don't pay a dollar up until the point where a patient has actually made it through the RTM program, and you're able to bill for that. So you're able to reimburse, Medicare for those actions. That's when we actually end up billing per patient that makes it through the program. So in shorter terms, what that means is you'll always be reimbursed more than what you're being charged by us. So
Yeah.
it's net positive. If for whatever reason a patient falls off halfway through and you're not able to bill for them, we're not charging you for that patient. Or if insurance kicks back and says, hey, we're actually not going to reimburse for this patient, their policy excludes it, then
Yeah.
again, we won't bill. So
Yeah.
it's really just a win-win for everybody. You get access to the software. Sorry, my dog is digging. Hey,
That's all right.
you get access to the software and the tools all at no cost with no potential to lose money on this program.
Skin in the game. Hey,
Right.
it sounds like Griffin's saying, like, we know this works. Why don't you come try it?
Yeah,
And your success is tied to our success. I
absolutely.
do want to make sure I throw it out now, just so I say it.
That is
RelayRTM.com is where
correct.
people can find out more
Yep.
information and sort of connect with Griffin. With Medicare expanding, this isn't normal. Like usually, you usually hear reductions or minimizations.
Right.
With Medicare expanding RTM reimbursements in 2026, well, I mean, this feels like, hey, Griffin's in a good spot. What should clinics be doing now to get ready for that expansion in
Right.
2026?
So we do have visibility into the fact that Medicare A sees this as a net positive for just the entire ecosystem. So they're saying, yes, we're paying for these codes, but it's having such a positive impact on outcomes and rehospitalizations that it actually makes financial sense for us to spend a little bit more money on this in the future to drive the usage of RTM and ultimately reduce complications for their patients otherwise. So really what that looks like is starting to integrate that into your workflow as soon as possible. And there's no rush per se, but in 2026 the barriers to entry are being reduced. So right now a couple of the codes, you have to hit certain thresholds in order to bill for them, and those thresholds are being reduced. So say a patient doesn't respond to 16 out of 30 of those text messages, it's not a total loss in terms of reimbursement. There will be a reduced threshold that you'll still get some reimbursement for those actions.
Athelis Revenue Cycle Management gives you full visibility to your money, real-time dashboards, automated billing, and higher collections. No more guessing what's coming in. Shoot me a note and I'll get you connected today. Jimmy at ptpintcast.com. Understood. Yeah. What mistakes do you see clinics making when they try to implement RTM solutions? I feel like I did an episode about this not long ago, year and a half ago. And it was like the Wild West. It was what you mentioned you saw. You did a Google search, right? It's what we all do. And
Yeah.
we're looking around and you're like, okay, I think a lot of people got scared away because they looked at it and said, I'm going to have to duct tape together 3 solutions. And it's going to be
Right.
heavy on like me monitoring things in a spreadsheet. I think people saw the
Sure.
amount of lift or administrative burden and said no. But what
Mhm.
mistakes do you see clinics making when they try to implement RTM solutions now that we can tell people, this is Griffin's hot take on what you should avoid?
Yeah, so not necessarily that it's a hot take, but for us, the hub and spoke model, which is what we're calling it, works best for clinics. So having one, office personnel that's responsible for the RTM program, instead of saying, hey, every 15 of us, all of them, all of my 15 clinicians, y'all
Yeah,
are each going to be responsible for your own version of this RTM program for your own patients, and having to juggle all of those codes individually, it just becomes a nightmare, right? You start letting things slip through the cracks and codes aren't being billed when they should be billed. And it works a lot better to have one central entity.
sure.
Now, the real place that people go wrong there is then saying, okay, but our clinicians do need to use this data in order to benefit the patient. So just having one person manage and monitor it works from a billing perspective. But then you also need to have the protocols in place to say, okay, so now clinician number one, before you go see those patients, check on the data so that you know what's going on, and we can have a conversation with the patients about, hey, we're not following through with our program, or this was too easy, or this was too hard, and have those in-person conversations so that way the patient can actually realize those benefits.
Perfect. All right, Griffin, we're gonna play a game. I didn't prepare you for this, but are you ready for a game?
Sure thing.
Let's do it. All right, Griffin, we're gonna play a little game, and it is called RTM or GTFO.
Okay.
I'll throw out some common tech features or business requirements in RTM, and you tell us whether they belong in modern RTM solutions or if they should get the heck out of RTM. Are you ready? So it's
Yeah,
RTM means good, GTFO means hit the bricks.
sure thing.
Here's number one. If your RTM solution requires patients to download a separate additional app.
I think this one's a no-brainer. That's GTFO, because you're not going to have patients adopt that at a
Yeah.
substantial rate, right? No one's going to. I mean, I can't tell you how many apps I've downloaded, and then the next day I forget they're even on my phone, and I'll go through
Yeah.
6 months later and go, shoot,
The
when did
hell
I
is
even
this?
download this app
Right.
at all? So, no, that's a GTFO. You're never going to do that. You're never going to have patients following through with an app.
If you can do it simply, why would you add complexity when simplicity? Never use 10 words when 5 will do is what one of my
100%,
journalism
especially
professors.
with the volume that a lot of these clinics are just having to work with, right? You have to have a substantial patient volume in order for those reimbursements to make the business function. And if you have 10 extra steps and 10 apps to
No.
download and patients
No.
have, it just doesn't work. It's
Doesn't work.
simple works.
App GTFO. Number 2, only works with one specific EMR. I feel like I know the answer to this one.
Yeah, that's going to be another GTFO, and how that relates to Relay. Right now, we work in parallel with any EMR system, so we don't have a plethora of integrations that we can offer right now. But our software does work in parallel, and we help with that transition from our software to your EMR and the data swap.
Yeah, 2 more. Takes longer than 5 minutes to set up per patient.
Yeah, that's another GTFO, because you have to have your clinicians efficient in their business. They can't be spending time on the computer because they need to be helping these patients in
Yeah.
person and in real time.
I remember when I was in PT school, and of course, I bring an app. Like if I had a tail, it'd be wagging. I bring the app to one of my professors or my CI, and I'd say, "Oh my gosh, I got this app. It's going to revolutionize everything." And they'd be like, "Show it to me," and it would take 15 minutes to set whatever. And they're like,
Right.
"Listen, I get it. That's cool. It's not practical. If it's going to take me
100%.
more than 5 blinks, like I'm out, man. So more than 5 minutes, it's a no brainer."
Yeah.
Let's see, last one. We got to go with this one. Here's a layup for you. No implementation fee. Is that RTM? Yeah.
That's RTM, and that's our model, right? We don't want to charge you an arm and a leg for something that you realistically have no proof whether it works or doesn't work, right? And so we can provide all the case studies we want, all the references we want, but does it work for my clinic? I don't know. And do I have $1,000 to risk
Risk
on
it.
this? When we can implement for free and say, hey, there's no risk to you, it's only upside for everyone.
Yeah, and if it works, it works, and we'll succeed
Yeah.
together. I see this more and more, right? Which is like tying your success to your customer success and saying, "This is now a partnership. You're not buying from me. We're
Right.
partnering together to solve this
Well, and
problem."
and I'm incentivized to help you create the perfect
Correct.
TM program for your clinic and help all these patients, because we both win on the backside. I haven't already won up front.
Run. All right, Griffin. You're off the hot seat. That was RTM or
Love
GTFO.
it.
All right, Griffin. Last thing we do on the show, it's called the parting shot. Just whatever we always remember stuff when we hear episodes like this or whatever, but it's the last thing that people usually remember, right? It's the last thing someone said. What would you want to leave with the audience of healthcare providers, business owners on the topics that we talked about today? What's your mic drop moment or soapbox statement?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I'd like to drive home is RTM is a set of codes, but it encompasses activities that you're already doing in your clinic, right? You're already trying to juggle patient activity in between visits, and RTM is just a way to put structure to that and ultimately get reimbursed for your time. So it really is surprising how often we have clinic owners saying, well, yeah, patients are already updating me in between visits, whether I asked them to or not. And I don't know what to do with the data. And one clinician got this text here, but didn't, share the information with another. So adding structure to that can really make the whole process much more efficient and ultimately also drive revenue for the business.
RelayRTM. I feel like in a year or two, we're going to be talking about it, and everybody that's sort of on the edge of a diving board, they're going to have jumped in because they're going to see so many people doing it. So good for you for seeing a gap, seeing the ability to overcomplicate it and not doing that. So I applaud that very, very loudly and saying thanks for keeping things simple. RelayRTM, you can reach out to Griffin and my team there. Griffin, thanks for the time in and the insight on this thing that we're looking to explode in 2026.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Like what you heard? Great. Subscribe to the show on Apple or Spotify. You can watch the episodes on YouTube. Or don't. I'm not your boss. You want to specialize in ortho, neuro, or sports physical therapy and actually get paid while doing it? Brooks IHL offers accredited residencies and fellowships with full salary, full benefits, and real mentorship from clinical experts. Learn more and apply at brooksihl.org. There aren't nearly enough podcasts in this world. Said no one. Why not launch one more? If you thought about launching a show but don't quite know how, we can help you do all that back-end stuff. Email me at jimmy@ptpintcast.com, and we can add one more podcast no one else will listen to the pile.